The WNBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with their new Pick 8. Sign up with promo code NBA SGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code NBA SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Build your own betting model using their AI betting engine. Claim your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Yes, sir. We are back with another edition of the WNBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. No me, no the waste, no the guy. It's me, Villain Row. Terrell Furman Jr. here at your service. I couldn't even get it out because, I mean, this is just like, honestly, truly, and granted, I understand why you would watch other shows because I watch other shows. Shout out to my guy Ron and the Money Baller. He got a show. Shout out to my guy Ski. He got a show that I keep up with. Man, there's other ones, but I just can't think of them right now. But like, so this is kind of like not a question, but it's a question. But why would you watch anybody else? Like, you don't need to. If you're watching anybody else, you're doing it purely because you want to. You don't need to watch anybody else. You don't need to listen to anybody else. I mean, dog, we just come on here and give out some bangers sometimes, man. Like, it's really, really like so funny how some of these episodes. Oh yeah, shout out my guy Chris for sure. Yeah, shout out my guy Chris. Appreciate y'all. All right, but yeah, man, it's just so funny how like, hey, RIP, shout out my guy Tease, man. Hey, I used to love watching T show too. Shout out to him. RIP. Hey, look, Tease would have loved this. Granted, I ruined the day. It could have been a full on episode sweep, but I ruined it. But you know what? We won enough where I don't even care that I ruined it. So I had to lock Sky. First half, -3.5. 1-4. Come on now. They won by 4 in the first half. They were down. Yo, Atlanta. Okay. All right. So I hit my lock. My dog was Seattle money line. That actually I'm sorry for everybody that got Seattle +5. Was it +5 or 4? I don't know. Whatever it was. I'm sorry. That was a bad beat on some people on the spread. So Seattle didn't get there. But because Seattle didn't get there, we cashed the parlay. I mean, we hit Liberty money line because the Sun can't beat the freaking Liberty. We hit what was the second leg? The freaking Mystics in the first half, they were up 20 in the first half. In the first half. And then the Aces give us a sweat on the team total at the end, and that comes through. And that's only my card. I didn't even get to talk about my co-host yet, who also, well, I didn't sweep the show, but he deserves the drop. I'm about to give him the drop. Scott Studio Reichel. Scott, you swept. What's going on?
Scotty, beat me up.
Surprise.
Yeah, doing pretty well. Definitely can't complain. Had a nice sweep, and we had the underdog lineup. Wouldn't even mention. But for the actual lock and dog picks, I ended up having two pretty easy winners. You had the Jackie Young under 5.5 assists at -125. I think that closed at 4.5, and she had 1 at halftime. Finished with 4. Was never in doubt. For the dog, I had an alt over in the Mercury game. According to the scoreboard, it was very, very close. Except the fourth quarter was an absolute rock fight. Think they combined for like 95 points in the first half. It kind of flew over, and you had a very low-scoring fourth quarter. But it still was pretty much coasting the entire way through. That was never in doubt, too, at +154. Then for the underdog lineup, I know you liked Dolson higher on the points. I liked Griner higher on the points. And you liked Diggins Smith PA. And we won. So, very nice episode. I had all greens for the underdog and for my lock and dog pick. So if you also include like the Angel Reese rebounds, which we didn't end up giving out, or any of the other stuff, I think we lost one pick in the entire show, and that was just Seattle. I think we
Yeah.
won pretty much everything else.
Yeah.
So
Even if you played that
we had Mystics
Wings
money
first
line.
half,
We
the
like
Wings
Mystics money
first half,
line
yeah,
too.
Mystics money line came through. Like the Wings first half play still came through. Like, man, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just sometimes you be on, man. And it's like we definitely had a couple clinker episodes, and now it's just picked back up. I had a sweep last episode. You had a sweep this episode. We've hit both of our locks 2 episodes in a row. Like, let's just keep it all going. And unfortunately for the slate today, it's a lot of line movement, Scott. A lot of line movement. Was the wedding worth it?
Yeah, it was an open bar, so of course it was worth it. What kind of question is
I'm
that?
just asking what the people want to know. We missed a lot of line movement. Was the wedding worth it?
Yeah, I don't think I had much of a choice there from a childhood friend getting married. So, no, I get maybe not. I'll tell you what. I'll get back to you on that depending on how the lock and dog picks go from the show. So maybe
if
we'll
we
see.
if we lose a locker dog
If
pick
we lose,
because
I'll
of
blame it on the wedding. If it and it was not worth it. But if it wins, then sure, I got drinks
yeah,
and winners.
yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
The people want to know: are you hungover?
No, I'm good.
See, it doesn't happen, man. I
I
haven't
don't get
seen it. I've been to
hungover
Vegas
that
with him.
often, if ever.
I was
No,
about to say I've been to Vegas with him. I didn't see him hungover,
no,
and
and
we
I
were
drank a
out pretty
lot in
late.
Vegas.
Yeah, I was
It
about to
was
say we were
late.
out a lot.
Yeah,
The
but
company took care of us. I will just say that the
the company
company
took
took
care
care
of
of
us.
us.
No, I'm good. Usually just a hot shower and I'm good.
All right. Before we get to the 3 games being played today, and I don't think we have any lines on the game. Oh, well, we do have lines on the games tomorrow. We could add that, Scott.
All right,
We can
sure.
add that to the yeah, and just make it a five game episode.
I'll update the
Sure.
title at the end. It's fine.
All right. Well, before we get to all of that, got to talk to you about my guy Chris. We were talking about Chris earlier. Chris and Munaf on the Propcast. Make sure you tap in with them. They got episodes dedicated to season-long props in the NFL and the awards market in the NFL. You guys like us? Well, trust me, those guys are just like us when it comes to the NFL prop betting market. So you guys need to lock in on that. And CJ Sullivan and his road to $10 million on CJ's Bottom Line Bombs is also out. Make sure you go ahead and tune in to both of those podcasts wherever you get your podcasts or the SGPN app. All right, man. First game up on the docket for tonight, 7:30 p.m. on the East Coast. Phoenix Mercury are laying 2.5. Not gonna lie, I did see this get to 3. It's back down to 2.5. I watched the line movement. I saw it open up at 2. It got 2.5. It got to 3. Now it's back to 2.5. However, the total that's going up. It opened up at 172.5. It's all the way up to 175.5 for this game. Injury report for these two teams, and I have for the Phoenix Mercury, Diana Taurasi is not playing in this game. She's still out with that hamstring injury. Probably not going to be back before the Olympic break. So no Diana Taurasi in this game. No Suggs Sutton in this game. No Charisma Osborne in this game. And for the Indiana Fever, no Time Fagbile in this game. She's out with a thumb injury. All right. I don't know. For Indiana, I don't know what's going on with the Lexi Hall experiment, but it just feels like that there's a better play there than Lexi Hall.
Well,
Who,
I was gonna say we know what's going on. We're just not sure if they are willing to admit that it doesn't work. We know
yeah,
what's going on, but the question is some
yeah.
stubbornness might be in the way.
Dog, it was one point. What did her final? I'm sorry to be throwing heat at Lexi Hall's way, but like, what was her finals stat sheet? 20 minutes, 5 points, uh 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Dog, for a good portion of that game I was watching, and she wasn't playing, and she had no stats on the board. I think it was like 8 minutes at that point. So those 12 minutes had to be in the fourth quarter at the end of the game, where she kind of just stuffed the stat sheet there. But like, she did nothing for majority of that game. And it was actually confusing on why Alyssa Smith just didn't start. So I mean, I can't officially say Lexi Hill is starting again and Alyssa Smith is coming off the bench, But what I can say is I do like the spot for the Phoenix Mercury, who just played this team and blew a second half. Yeah.
So you're
I,
going with the
I
Mercury.
yeah, yeah. I feel I'm just playing revenge on this one because both these defense. Well, clear play is the over. The clear play is the over. You don't even question that. I mean, both of these two defenses are two worst in the league, but I'm just gonna play revenge here and say that the Phoenix goes on the road and gets a win in Indiana. But that's mainly because I just truly don't understand what Indiana's doing, and it feels like what we saw at the end of that Chicago Sky game last night seems to be happening in Indiana just in a completely different way. Oh, they're just stat padding these rookies. Like they're just stat padding these rookies and they want to showcase the rookies and make them look good, talking about Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. They just really want to make them look good, but they're not interested in actually winning games. Because Caitlin Clark looked really, really good in that Misses game, but they were nowhere even close. Like
Well,
it
that was the
wasn't
funny
even
part of
close.
ESPN. ESPN kept showing highlights of Clark behind the back passes, and I'm like, they're down 15.
Yeah,
Like,
they're
they
down
didn't even
20. Like
acknowledge.
they're getting cooked. And it's just like, yes, that but like they're not trying to win games. I truly don't think they're trying to win games. I think they're accidentally winning games. They're beating bad teams. And then like they have those spots that they got up for. They got up for a really, really good spot against the Liberty. That was a really the best win of the season. But like, bro, last game was just really it where I was just like, bro, I really don't want anything to do with Indiana because it was very clear that Clark was just like they were just putting her in the front part of the offense, not only because she's the best player, but because it low-key looked like they just wanted her to look really, really good. And then they didn't try to win the game at all. And the Mystics just ran out of there with it. I don't know how you could trust the Fever. I can't trust the Fever right now. I'm taking the Mercury. I don't care if it's on the road.
Yeah, I think for this one I am going to lean to the Fever, but mostly because it's the Mercury on the road. That's basically it. I don't see much separating these teams, so I'm going to lean to Indiana, but I do have to agree with you. The word I think you were looking for with your Caitlin Clark discussion is usage. I think that's the word you were looking for.
Yeah.
I had the same takeaway. She's had 4 straight games of 11 plus assists. I
Mhm.
understand Caitlin Clark's a great passer. She has the ball in her hands every damn possession, and they don't
like
try to run anything
like
else.
there's no attempt to try to play some type of off-ball movement with
No,
her and
not
like
at all.
do any no, just put the ball in her hands and tell her to make a
She's playing
play.
37 plus minutes a game, and the ball's in her hands every possession. Like, they're at the point where they're just trying to get her the craziest stat line imaginable.
Yes.
And I think that that bodes well for props. We'll get into that in a second. So I do agree with you, but the counterpoint would be she's already the best player on the team. So they probably should have the ball in her hands all the time. We'll see. But I do think with Indiana's offense and with the Mercury's underwhelming defense, and with the fact that the Mercury are still on the road, I'm going to lean to Indiana. I think that the Mercury can pull this off, but I still don't trust this team away from Phoenix. And I don't know if I ever will. So I'm going to lean to Indiana to find a way. They did win the first meeting in Phoenix. It was a choke job. Indiana was down a lot. They came back and won the game, as you said before. But I think I am going to lean to Indiana. I don't mind the over. My favorite play is going to be in the player prop section. I think you can probably tell what it's going to be. But I do
Oh
think,
yeah.
for the sake of this matchup, I'm going to lean Indiana at home for a bounce back after the Mystics game. I thought they played better in the second half. They just didn't get there in the end. But I'm
Mhm.
hoping that they come out with a bit more urgency and maybe Phoenix overlooks them. We'll see what happens. But I do agree with you about the over, but I do think I am
Mhm.
going to go with the Fever at home.
Yeah, I can't. I'm taking. I mean, really, honestly, they're not. In years past, this home road split has been way worse for the Mercury. It's 4-6. I mean, the Fever are 5-5 at home. There's not really a big jump difference. And that's ultimately what pulled me over to the Mercury is the fact that it really wasn't a killer home road split as it is in years past. And they're pretty 7-2 as a favorite, or the Phoenix Mercury. 7-2 as a favorite, ATS. So shout out and straight up. So all right, let's see. Yeah, over. Clean cut over. Don't even question it over. Just this could be another over. You have two of the worst defensive teams in the league. It's nothing to question here. For the player props, I mean, I feel like I already know what your play is.
You can say it if you want.
Clark 9.5 assists.
Yeah, of course. That was my YouTube play from last night.
I
I'm not
mean,
going to go
I
against
just
it.
5 of the last 6 she's gone over. I don't know. Even just watching the games, they could literally only score 50 points and she probably could still get over this line.
She has 4 straight of just 11 plus. I'm not even talking about like 10 I'm saying 11. She's at 13 in back-to-back games.
Mm-hmm.
Wins are optional, as you said before. They're going to make Caitlin Clark look good. We might have reached the point in the year where Angel Reese was getting so much hype that Indiana's entire front office and coaching staff decided we're leaving here with something. She's getting Rookie of the Year. She's going
Yo,
to
is
win
that
Rookie of
why?
the Year.
Is that why they saw the double streak and they said, "All right, let's get Caitlyn going on way"?
I mean, in reality, I think that they know that at the end of the day, the team's not very good, and Caitlyn
Mm-hmm.
does kind of deserve to have the ball in her hands all the time. But I don't think it's a coincidence that suddenly her assist numbers have just skyrocketed the last week and a half, right after or right around the time Angel Reese sets the double-double record. Right? Is that a coincidence? I don't think it's a coincidence.
No, man, I get it, bro. I get it. No,
But
I
who
don't think
knows?
it's a
Maybe it's a
coincidence.
coincidence, maybe it's not. But I just think that at the end of the day, it's going to bode well for us. She had 12 against the Mercury 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to suddenly assume that the assists are not going to be there. The only way I think it doesn't get there is if Clark starts jacking up 20-something shots a game and she ends up either going for points or, just ends up not working out with her teammates missing shots. But 11 and 4 straight, I can't look at an under. I got to go with the over at 9.5.
All right, I'm on Kalia Copper. I think she wasn't
She
that
was
good
so
against
she was
Indiana.
she was so good against Dallas though.
Oh
She
yeah,
was so good against
she
Dallas.
wasn't that good against Indiana. That's what I'm saying. Last week against Indiana, she wasn't that good. She had 7 points, but since then 21, 30, 21, 34, 25, 32. Like when Diana Taurasi went down, she said, "All right, bet I'm just go back to doing what I was doing, dropping 30-point games and absolutely cooking these bad defenses." And that's absolutely what she did to Dallas. 2 games against Dallas, 34 and 32 points. This is another bad defense, and I just think that she's going to have a much better of a game. She's had 24 and 25 against this team last season. Yeah, give me Kalia Copper over 100 points. I think she's going to have a good one.
Any other players you're tempted by? I know one of the other things that I actually lost on for the last episode, by the way. I said Nalissa exactly 12 points, and she had 11.
She had
So
11.
I'm still a bit salty about it, but she's always hovering around that 11-12 range. So, well, I'm going to ask you,
BG,
do we have any Hull props that we could just take an under on? Is there anything for Hull?
I doubt
No.
it.
Oh, wait a
There's
second. Hang on
no
a second. We might have
what,
something. Hang on
what,
a second.
what? Hold on, pause.
No, we do not. I'm
Okay.
actually kind of annoyed that Outlier teased me because they had her listed as a player with no prop.
Oh, I
They
was
just
about to
had her
say I
name
was
out
literally
there,
just up there.
but
Like
no.
what? No. Dang. No. So no Hull. If there was anybody, because some people be having like these Fliff, whatever Fliff is, be having props. So
Yeah.
if there's a Lexi Hall prop, then just take her unders. Like she's literally useless to this team at this point. And
Mm.
it's gonna be so funny when they choose to save her over Nalissa Smith, and Nalissa Smith goes to be a Golden State Valkyrie.
She's good. Melissa Smith at the end of the day.
Yeah. All right. It's gonna be funny. So no Hull props. Sophie Cunningham, if anything pops up on Sophie Cunningham later today, take her threes.
Okay.
I just, I Indiana really struggles on closing out on 3-point shooters. Like that's really one of their issues is that they don't rotate over fast enough, and they really suck at closing out. And so, I think that with upgraded minutes, Sophie Cunningham probably going to have a really good day. They're gonna need that offense too. Like I'm expecting some 90+ points in this game, so it's going to take a number of people to score them. I think Sophie Cunningham with a couple of made threes will be able to do that. So if that drops later, and they've had her props before, so if that drops later, then let me know. Clark, Griner, Copper, and Slash Cloud assist at 7.5. Maybe points and assists because she's kind of scoring lately too. Let's see here. 7.5. She has 6 and she had back-to-back 10 assist games after Taurasi went down, and then she's been a clunker recently. Set 7.5 plus money. I like it. I'll still play it.
She had 7 in the first meeting this season.
Yeah, it was almost there. I play it.
I do want to ask you though about props because I mentioned Caitlin assists. Her double is minus 155. Her triple double though is around plus 625. And I want to ask you about it because she was 1 rebound away from a triple double in the last meeting.
Yes.
She played 39 minutes out of 40. So that's why I'm kind
Yes.
of wondering if you think she's going to get there. I think there might be some value.
I think it's
625.
I think it's there. I think the value's there because now you're just chasing the rebounds, and if she has a crazy rebound day, then the triple double's almost all but guaranteed. So it's just I think there's a lot more makes than misses.
Yeah, it could be.
That's
I'm
the
just
only
saying
thing.
625 I don't mind because we're not
Yeah.
exactly in Alyssa Thomas territory where it was like in the 3-1s, but you make the argument that these odds should actually be lower based on how often the ball's in her hands. If you're already penciling in a double-double at minus 155, triple-double at like 650 might actually make some sense. I actually want to quickly see what her rebounds alone are. Her
Mhm.
rebounds for 10 plus is 360. So I think there's some value on the triple double potentially if you think that she can replicate what you did in the first meeting with maybe an extra rebound. So that could be an option, but at the end of the day, I think I'm just sticking with relative chalk here. I agree with you about Copper. I know we agree on Kaylin Clark assists.
Mhm.
Griner should have a great game. She had 24 in the first meeting. I don't think Indiana can guard anybody in the paint. So I do think that Griner's in a good spot. You like Griner in this matchup? I'm
Yeah.
assuming you do.
Yeah. I already touched on her. I'm playing. There's really not too many times that I'm not saying that you should play a Brittany Griner prop. Like she's that good.
Yeah,
Clark
20 and a half
threes has
minus
been asked
120.
about. Christian Rodriguez in the chat asking about Clark threes. What's that at 3.5?
Let me
Let
check.
me see. Caitlin Clark 3 pointers made is at 3.5 plus 120. I see. Probably at what 2.5? Oh no, you're not playing 2.5. So it's 3.5 plus
No.
120. I mean, she actually hasn't really been that good to this line, believe it or
She is
not.
not. The point is the Mercury, though, of the worst 3-point defense in the league. That's kind of the
Yes,
main
very
thing.
much so. And it's no Tarasi. I just think that she's gonna get more space. I say play it this game. I say play it this game.
All right. You have anything else you want to talk about?
No. But what I do want to talk about is underdog fantasy. Underdog fantasy and making sure that our listeners are tapping in with their new pick 8 where you can create an entry with up to 8 picks. And if you do, underdog will automatically double flex those picks so that you can miss 2 and still win your entry. You can win up 325 times your original amount, and they have a whole bunch of specials and boosts that you can use. So make sure you tap in with underdogfantasy.com, promo code NBASGPN to get that special pick and first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. Underdogfantasy.com, promo code NBASGPN. We're also brought to you by Circa Survivor and Circa Millions. Circa Millions is a pick 5 and can't even talk. Pick 5 NFL teams ATS each week, and you can compete for $6 million in prizes. Or you could do both, or you can only do one. Circa Survivor, where you survive the NFL gauntlet, picking one NFL team each week, trying to last to the end to claim the $10 million prize. And don't forget, there's no rake. So if this could go over, you could win more than this amount. So make sure you sign up in person at Circa Sports between now and September 7th. Use a proxy to play from anywhere using footballcontestproxy.com. And hey, use our promo code SGP and I'll save you $50. Make sure you tap in with the Ultimate Contest weekend, August 22nd through the 24th at Circa Sports. All right, next game up. We have the hold on. What is the next game? Oh, the Atlanta Dream welcoming the Las Vegas Aces. Aces are laying 13 on the road. Well, they were laying 13 on the road. They're laying 14.5 on the road now. 168 is the total. Injury report here for these two teams, and I have for the Las Vegas Aces nothing to report. It looks like, yeah, nothing to report for the Aces. Pretty clean injury report there. And for the Atlanta Dream, Ariel Powers is out, Ryan Howard is out, Jordan Canada is out. I mean, Scott, we can really honestly make this really quick. Is there any chance that the Dream are in this game?
I'm going to say no. The only way they can is if they somehow score or at least play good defense for once, which I don't see happening. But the Aces have been good lately. Simply put, they were able to go into Seattle and win. They didn't look great for the entire first half. They scored like 30 points in the entire first half and then decided, you know what? Yeah, let's actually try to win this game. And they just buried Seattle in the second half, as far as I'm concerned. I just think that the Aces have too much firepower. It's really not that complicated of a breakdown. I know we feel the same way about it. I know Gray has not been amazing since coming back, but it was expected. Eventually she'll figure it out. They just have so many weapons. Plum's been better lately. Asia had her first ever 2020 game last time out. You're looking at really just every option that the Aces have, even Hayes off the bench. They just have so many scores, and the Dream just don't have that. And I think that when you're looking at the pace they play at, that should give Tina Charles some problems in general. I'm going with the Aces. I think they win comfortably. The only concern would be them being on the road and Atlanta being at home, but that hasn't even been that big of a cap this season because the Dream are 3-7 at home. So it's also a revenge game. The Dream did win the first meeting of the season back in May. So I do think that the Aces will come out here focused. Maybe they'll play with their food for like a quarter, but in reality, I just think the Aces win this game by like 18. The question really comes down to, do I think the Aces mess around late and maybe allow a backdoor cover? Maybe, but I think the Aces win this game by, like, if I had to guess, 17. I don't think they blow out the spread, but I think they get there. So I'll lean to the Aces.
So I'm trying to give any kind of hope for anybody that wants to not play the Aces or so if Alicia Gray and Tina Charles, because this Aces defense is horrible, if they both have 25-point games and they both combine for 50, can Haley Jones, Maya Caldwell, Nia Coffey, Cheyenne Parker Tyus, Naz Hillman, can they combine for another 40 to make this even close? I don't think so. I think you actually get maybe 20 points combined out of all of them. Maya Caldwell could actually have a pretty decent game. I might be interested in a Maya Caldwell prop. No way. They're getting dogged. They're getting dogged today. This is where's the drop? Where is the drop when you need it? It's nothing to talk about here for me. The Aces are dogging them. I think you're short. You said 17. I think 27.
Okay.
So, all right, we're both on the Aces. Laying 14.5 there. 168 is the total. Are you willing to play around with? I think there's value on the under because I don't think that the Dream are going to be able to score.
Oh, no, I like the under. It scored 69 against Chicago. Like, I'm good. I'm not sure they're going to score 70 in this game. Maybe they'll get to like low 70s, but it's really threading a needle if you want to go for the over, because you're basically expecting the Aces to dominate most likely, but the Dream are probably not going to score enough to keep the game close.
I'm not taking the over. I would play either under or I would play the Aces team total over. There's no way I'm trusting Atlanta to score any type of points in this game at all.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Great.
So
I'm glad
they scored what? Like they scored less than 70 in back-to-back games.
Yeah,
I'm good. Like, I'm good.
Yeah, that's pretty tough, man. That's pretty tough. No, I'm good. There's no hope for me with this Dream team scoring, even against the Aces defense. Like, I don't even want to play that game. So, Aces team total over is the better bet for me. All right, I saw somebody in the chat talking about Asia Wilson, the GOAT. It's crazy. She's actually like one of the greatest players of all time, and we're just watching it live. Like, that's actually insane. Who was it? Helm said he grabbed over 26.5 last night. Yeah, it's probably at 27.5 now. It is even money. I think you should play that too. I think she's putting 30 up on him.
The only concern is if they pull her because they're up by a ton. That's really the only concern.
And you know what? It's so funny because at this point, I'm not even afraid of them pulling her because, like, Becky has said, I'm letting her play more minutes, and she is. Like, she's letting her play a lot more minutes this year. So, like, she has all space and opportunity. Like, even in a blowout, she has all space. What if she has 15 by half? Like 15 or 18 by half? Like, that's not
15 might actually be on the low side for her in the first half.
Yeah, I was about to say that might actually be low. She could do that in a quarter. So it's just like, bro, she's about to cook. She's gonna cook. Asia Wilson over 27.5 plus money. That's a good play. I wonder what did Tina Charles do last game?
She had 9 points. She did nothing. That was another thing we technically got wrong. We did a lean to a Charles good game, and that didn't happen against Chicago. I like Charles under. Her points are at 15.5, and historically speaking, She's not been very good against the Aces. She had 7 in the first meeting of the season. You're looking at her numbers recently. She's had less than 14 in 3 straight games. She's got to deal with Asia. That could be foul trouble waiting to happen. Who knows? And Asia, we do know, is an elite defensive player. So I do like Charles under 15.5 points.
That Charles under comes in. There's no shot in this game.
I think it's a bad matchup for her, isn't it? Because we know the Aces want to run too, and she's going to have a hard time going up and down the floor. So I just think it's a bad matchup.
There's no Maya Caldwell. The Caldwell is the only person I could actually see myself playing. Maybe hold on. Wait a minute. I see a Cheyenne 8.5 points here.
If she's healthy, that line feels a bit low.
Yeah, like what? That feels low. She's killing this line. Even, well, granted, a lot of these are starting, but like they're gonna need offense. And the Aces I would play Cheyenne over 8.5 points. Aces defense is that bad, and they're gonna need offense from somebody. Like at some point they're gonna say, hey, we need somebody to go score. She's never backed down. And she's had good games against the Aces before. She's had a 25 piece last year. 25, 19, 13, 6, and 7 last 5 games against the Aces.
I do want to ask you about potentially going for Jackie Young out of curiosity, because she has been in great form recently. If you wanted to go for Jackie, I would recommend her. I'm trying to think. Do I want to go for points and rebounds if I wanted to go for something? Because she has been actually flying over. Points and assists have actually been good lately. She's had at least 25 in 5 of the last 7 and 13 of the last 20. And her line's at 23.5. I don't mind it in this one. She had 27 points last game. Like, she can easily just have a monster game with her points. That could be an option for Jackie, but I think I'm kind of just going to stick with Charles under and Asia to just destroy the entire matchup, right? That's kind of the safer option.
Yeah. Who was it? Somebody just asked in the chat. Anthony did about Tina Charles double. Yeah, I just, it's not the day for me. It's not the day for me with Tina Charles. I just can't get there. Possibly. And it would be on Tina to try to show up Asia Wilson, like, or at least have one good game against her. But yeah, nah, I'm straight. I'm really straight on anything Dream. But Cheyenne Parker Tice 8.5 really is tempting. Like, really, really, really tempting. Okay.
You want to move on?
Oh no, wait, hold on. I want to play. Oh, I don't see her. Never mind. I want to play Chelsea Gray today. It
Yeah, I
just
don't
feels.
see her either.
I don't know why I woke up, but it feels like a Chelsea Gray day where she just goes out there and scores 20.
I wouldn't mind her threes, actually. She was attempting a couple of those against Seattle in the last game, so the volume might be there for her threes.
Yeah. All right. That's it for that one. Before we get to the next game, got to talk to you about Rhythm. Make sure you tap into their WNBA features because they have custom betting models that you can go in there and make and really, get into the power of data with Rhythm and their data scientists that are constantly making sure you have the best, most accurate predictions here. And they have the AI, artificial intelligence, that's going to go out there and also help you win some plays. We won yesterday, and it was a sweat. I made a Rhythm video of the day. I posted on YouTube Shorts and I posted on Twitter, and it was the over 166.5 in the Liberty and Sky game. It sounded good. Overs had been 11-3 at this point for teams on a back-to-back. Well, it came in at 167. Let's go. 167. Thank you, Rhythm. Not only thank you for the winner, but thank you for the sweat. The sweat was appreciative. I appreciate the sweat. So make sure you tap into Rhythm. You can get more plays like that. www.sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. 7-day free trial. All right. Next game up, we have the Seattle Storm. Where? There we go. Seattle Storm at home here on this incredibly long homestand to play the Minnesota Lynx. Seattle opened up 3.5. They are now laying 7. That is some movement. They're laying 7. And hold up, I gotta sneeze.
Bless you. Bless you. You good? Maybe? No?
Okay.
Okay.
Now I'm good. Whew.
Good.
Oh man, that was the three amigos, Eddie Guerrero, that came through here and gave me the sneezes. Appreciate that. All right. What was I saying? Oh yeah, +7 for the Minnesota Lynx on the road here. 154 is the total. Injury report, and it's a doozy, and it's probably the reason why this line movement has been there. Not probably, it 100% is the reason. But Nafisa Collier is doubtful. She is not playing, well, doubtful to play. Actually, in the WNBA, doubtful is actually doubtful. So, like, there is a chance that she could play, but more than likely, she's probably not going to play. And clean injury report for the Seattle Storm. Seattle's lost this game 3 times this season already. All 3 of those games had Nafisa Collier. All 3 of those games, I would say, is a worse version of Seattle at this point. Seattle's coming off loss at home where they completely no-showed the second half. Going into the All-Star / Olympic break. Yeah, bro. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'll be completely honest here. I'm already got down at 5. At Seattle leg 5. What is there any reason, any rhyme or reason to take Minnesota in this spot, Scott?
I mean, the only way that you take them is if you think that Seattle might be overlooking them with Nafisa's injury and with the potential, I don't want to say no-show again, but maybe morale's low after blowing that game against the Aces. I don't think so. I think Seattle will be motivated, actually, because they were good enough to beat the Aces. They played well enough to beat them for at least 2 quarters. Could have been a bit more than that, but defensively they fell apart, and they couldn't make a three-pointer. That's really the story of the game for them, is that their three-point shooting was abysmal, which has been a growing concern for the Storm team, because you think blindly, oh, they got Diggin Smith and they have Jewel Lloyd, they can just hit a bunch of outside shots. They're actually not the greatest outside shooting team, and when they don't make their threes, they lose all the time. So I guess that's the concern, is if they end up just getting going cold from the outside again, if they can still hang in there. But defensively, both teams should be very solid. I like the under in this game. I think it might turn into a rock fight, but I think the Storm just have too much firepower with the injuries the Lynx are dealing with. And the Lynx looked really good against the Sparks. Congrats, I guess. I mean, that counts as a win. I can't really read into that anymore. But I do think you're looking at Seattle. It's a triple revenge spot, which doesn't really exist, but I think Collier being out is too big.
Bro, they're not getting swept. They're not getting swept.
I think Collier being out is just too big of a deal. I just can't look past that. And I think looking at the Lynx beating up on the Mystics, that game was close, and the Sparks. I mean, they played 2 bottom feeder teams, and the Storm had the Aces on the ropes. I feel like that loss against the Aces looked bad based on how the game script played out, but going into the game, they hung with the Aces who are at full strength. Like, that's not terrible as far as I'm concerned. I'll link to Seattle at home. They're a good home team.
Yeah. All right. I'm with you. It's no question here. Seattle's potential lock play still at 7. Because I think they're going to kill them. And that's the total is another reason why I think they're going to kill them. I think this is an under game because I'm not sure if Minnesota is going to be able to score if Seattle locks in on defense, as we know they can. Like, Minnesota already has had questionable games with scoring output. I'm just remembering off the top of my head the Sky game on the road in Chicago where they played there and they had to fight back in the second half and tried to. If they have to fight in the second half of this game, they're not coming back because I don't think that Seattle's blowing a second half twice. Like, I really don't. I think that, it's going to be on Kayla McBride if she can be efficient in this game and look really good. It's going to be on if they can score on the inside and take advantage of Ezzy and NECA, but I just don't think they can do that. Whereas I do think that their defense is actually still pretty solid with Alana Smith and Dorka anchoring the painted area, and they still have a really good defender in Courtney Williams out there in the guard position that was giving Skylar Diggins-Smith some heat in the early part of the season. So I still think that this is an under game. Give me the full game under. I do like Lynx team total under, Louise. Scott, are you with us on the under here?
Yeah, I'm not going to go with the over. I think both teams defensively can still bring it, and I do think that With Collier being out, they're going to have serious problems scoring in this matchup. So I like the under.
All right. I do think that Seattle can potentially run away with this, Luis. Player props. Hassan's asking about Carlton over 11.5 points.
Well, that's the real question of you just have to pick which person you think steps up in Collier's absence. You can kind of just expect a bunch of players step up, maybe one in particular. You have one that kind of jumps out to you that might have a monster game. Is it Bridget?
If everybody steps up, they're in this game. So because I don't think they
That's kind
they
of what I'm
step up.
saying. You
Yeah, I
still need
don't think
somebody to
that.
score.
Yeah, and I I think it's potentially Courtney Williams, and just with the fact that how much she's going to have the ball in her hands, I would play a Courtney Williams points and assist play. If I
I actually disagree about Courtney, but I'll mention it in a second. But
Well, go ahead with your Courtney take.
I'm just gonna go look at her points and rebounds under because she's been horrible lately with points and rebounds. They killed the Sparks in the last game. Do you want to guess how many points and rebounds she had? They scored
How
82
much?
points. She had 6 combined. She had 4 points, 2 rebounds. She has gone under this number in 8 of the last 10, gone under in 6 of the last 7. Seems like Courtney Williams has been a player who has actively not stepped up since Collier got injured. So I'll keep going with that. I think Williams might be in trouble with this matchup as well. Recently against the Storm, she's been horrible historically speaking. She has had less than 16.5 points and rebounds in 6 of the last 7 games against Seattle. And the one time she went over, I believe, was the double overtime game, I think. Actually, I don't know about that. It might have been. Point is, I think that Courtney's in a pretty rough matchup, actually, and I think that she's in line to probably go under. So I'm going to disagree about Courtney Williams. I'm actually not a big fan of her matchup, but at 16.5 points and rebounds and minus 104 on the under, I am intrigued by that. I feel like the recent stats speak for themselves.
Yeah, I just think that she's going to have the ball in her hands a lot in this one, and just facilitating that offense. And if they're if they go out here and they are actually in this game, I think that she's probably going to be the reason for it because of the playmaking ability and just how good of a player she actually is. I understand the numbers aren't necessarily there with it the recent games, but big players do big things. And so the points and assists, she's had 5, 7, 6 assists in the last 3 games, been over 17.5 points and assists in 2 of the last 3. I think that this is a pretty solid game where she can get to the mid range, her spot in the mid range, and she can cash those easily. And then just the fact of she's having the ball in her hands. And because I don't want to pick of a person between Bridget and Alana, and that's really the 2 people that I feel like you're probably picking from. If you like Bridget, you like Bridget. If you like Alana, you like Alana. But I think you're going to get one or the other. I'd rather just take Courtney's assist and say that she gets whoever the ball. So I actually do like her points and assists today. I think this is kind of a solid spot, but I'm really not touching anything on Minnesota's side of the ball for real.
She can get
For
the assists.
Seattle,
I'm not into the rebounds. The rebounds have been kind of underwhelming for Courtney. She's had less than 6 rebounds in 5 of the last 6. So assists maybe I'm fine with.
I can't get. I can't. I just personally can't play Anytime I play under on her rebound, she goes over. She's one of the best rebounding cards, and so I can't do it for that. That's the only reason why. Where we at? Okay, Seattle. Jewel.
Yep.
19.5.
19.5 is
Skylar.
pretty low.
She can get to 20. I think she can get to 20.
Do we just keep
Skylar's
going with
assist.
Skylar PA, or you want to go for assist only this time?
No, I think PA is still a good play. I was looking at assist because 6.5 was plus 125, but PA is still another good one. I would still play Skylar Diggins Smith. That's still going. I actually don't like NECA and Ezzy on their points today because it is a tough matchup with Alana and Dorka on the inside. So I kind of don't like that. But I'll still play Ezzy's rebounds at 8.5 for sure.
Huh?
She's still really good there. I think I like Alana's rebounds at 5.5 too. I think. Okay. Anything else here for me? Nope. That's it for me. All right.
I think I'm good.
Next game up. We're on to Saturday now. 1 p.m. on the East Coast. is the automatic rematch. New York Liberty. This time they're in Chicago on the road. Go and play the Chicago Sky. Sky are catching 7.5 at home. 166.5 is total.
Although, shout out to you. I saw you did a YouTube short on the game yesterday, and you were right by a hook.
Yep. So, I really want to take shit. I really want to take Chicago, but I can't.
Okay. Well, what's the thought process? Why can't you do it?
Because are they trying to win games, or are they trying to just get injuries, double doubles?
She had 5 rebounds entering the fourth quarter last game, and she ended up with 10. They were really just trying to get her all the rebounds.
The rotations are off. The scoring output, they go on droughts every other quarter, and there's significant droughts. Like, I just can't trust this scoring output on this team. Reluctantly, I would take Liberty laying 7.5. But what I think is even better play is give me the under 166.5 this time.
Okay.
Give me the under. Yeah. On the second game, deja vu game, we continue to back the under in the second game. And honestly, truly, like it was just so bad. Like the scoring output was really, really bad at one point between these two teams. And where the Liberty continued to find ways to go and run, and the Sky could not hold their end of the bargain. I actually would consider a Sky team total under. I'm probably gonna be wrong about this. I'm probably gonna be wrong about this, but I can't get behind Chicago. I just can't get behind Chicago right now. Like that was horrible. That was horrible. And I know that you're supposed to have short-term memory with stuff like this, but I can't get it out of my mind. They really weren't trying to win that game.
I think the issue the Sky have run into against the Liberty, they did win the first game, but they've been so bad in the fourth quarter of these, or like the second half of these last two games.
Yeah.
They've been in these games, but you're looking at the two games, for example, yesterday they got outscored 28-14 in the fourth quarter. And the second game was the Commissioner's Cup game where they got outscored 23-9 in the fourth quarter. So they're in there for three quarters, and then they fall apart in the fourth quarter, but maybe Sky first half, if you want to make a case, because the Liberty we know can come out slow and they kind of let other teams hang around. And then they realize, all right, time to actually bury this team, and they show up in the fourth quarter. I like the under as my favorite play in this one. You got the over right yesterday, but to be honest, that did involve a lot of points in the last minute. So that was a little bit fortunate to get there. Still counts, but I do think that it's a good sell high spot on the total.
Oh, yeah.
So I like the under.
And it's the same line.
Yeah, same line. I'll lean to the under, but the Liberty, if they actually try for the entire game, can easily cover this, but they've really let bottom feeders hang around in a lot of their games, and that's kind of why I have a hard time of laying the 7.5. You might get a better line live. I maybe wouldn't mind Sky first half, but in reality, the Liberty, I think, do enough to win. So I'm going to go with the under and just move on.
All right. Let's see. Next, yeah, that's it. We just have those two lines for the game for that game. Next game up, Los Angeles Sparks on the road, going to play the Dallas Wings. Wings are laying 2.5 here. 169 is the total. So I don't have an injury report for you or anything reminiscent of an injury report, but word around the grapevine is that Satou Sabally is going to be back for this one. I haven't confirmed if that's actually legit or not, so I don't know. And maybe this is just a wait and see what Dallas is putting out there. I'm actually kind of confused on. Well, I guess I'm not. They're at home. I'm gonna toss it over to you. Dallas laying 2.5. I'm actually kind of torn on this.
Okay. So
Dallas can't stop anybody, but the Sparks can't stop anybody either. So I'm pretty confident on an over. However, Dallas is really bad in the second half of games. So do we just go Dallas first half and just don't even worry about the second half, just Dallas first half? Even if Satou doesn't play, and I really come on, the Olympic break is about to start. Like, why would she come back for these last two games?
That might be the point, though, is she wants some game action before the Olympics actually start. She might
be
using it as a
possibly
tune-up for the Olympics.
If Satou plays, this is a clear cut. You take the Wings. But okay, so Sparks are coming off the Minnesota game where they got killed, the Phoenix game where they were closer than expected.
I had the money line, so I don't want to talk about it. But they were in that game. They just didn't work out down the stretch.
And then Dallas got killed by Phoenix and Vegas. But they just run at it's just an incredible pace that they're running at. They're running and gunning the whole game. Like, I just don't know if the Sparks have enough option. Like, okay, Rakia, Ari McDonald likes to go run. Like, De'Erica can run. I don't think they have enough options. I don't think they have enough. I'm gonna take the Wings at home, but I'm not playing the full game. I'm only picking for the terms of the show. I really don't trust the full game. I'm not playing this Wings team in the second half. I'm taking that first half. First half, what is it? -1.5. Oh, I don't even have a line on it. Whatever. It's gonna come in at like -1, -1.5 probably. I would just play Dallas in the first half and just
Yeah, I
say
think I'm going to
that.
agree with you.
Yeah.
You're expecting Satu to play, or at least I might be. Maybe that's just the initial energy boost they're going to need with the crowd. By the way, I see somebody asking if it's time to actually take the Wings to make the playoffs now that Satu's back. I'm rooting for you. To be honest, I'd rather take the 10.5 wins. I feel like that's the safer option here for the win total because
But that what's the price on that?
that's what I was
That's
about
got
to
to be
check.
5-1 now. It's got to be like
I
3
got
or
to see
4
what it
5-1.
is. I don't see any playoff odds listed on DraftKings, but I see the
Let
wins
me
are at 10 and a
see.
half. I think that's the safer option because they already have 18 losses. Like, I don't know how bad the last playoff team is going to be, but they got to win a lot of games in that second half. Now, maybe they can do it, and we'll see what happens, but I would rather take the safe option and just take the wins over because they have 5 now. We're a little bit more than halfway through the season. I think they can win 6 with Satu back, but once again, they dug themselves in such a massive hole
They
that I
got
don't know if I
18
actually want
wins.
to.
I mean, 18 losses. They have 18 losses
That's what
already.
I'm saying.
But
Like, I don't know if I
20
want
and
the
20
playoffs at this
is
point.
20 and 20 is but we do have teams that are under 500 that make the playoffs. But it's the run that they have to go on at this point is just kind of absurd. Like, this was
Yeah.
a lot better of a play when we thought that they were going to be like, maybe 13 losses or like, closer to where Chicago is. Chicago's 9-13 right now. If they were 9-13 right now, I'd say, oh yeah, hammer that. They're 100% going to make it at this point. But like, it's just a really big hurdle to overcome. And Chicago and Indiana are playing better. So it's like, nah.
They're dead last in the league. They're behind the Sparks because they played an extra game. Like, I have a hard time taking them to make the playoffs. If you want to do it, have fun. You can throw a little bit on it, but if I had to pick between the two, I prefer the win total. I think that there's a realistic spot where Satu comes back and she ends up playing well, and the Dream
Mhm,
naturally win more games because you get back the Enrique and Satu combo. I think
mhm.
it's too late in the season to actually make the playoffs, but I think it's not too late to win 6 more games. And this might be one of them. They're favored in this game.
If you find me a price on it now, I'm probably gonna say, "Oh, I'll sprinkle a little bit on it." But the fact that I don't have a price right now, I'm just not interested. But I'm almost positive if you told me it was 5-1, I'd be like, "Okay, let's put a little bit on there."
Well,
Like,
that's what
why
I was
not?
going to ask you, though. What would be your cutoff? Because they are dead last in the league. They are right now 4 games behind the Fever for the final playoff spot, not including tie breaks and whatever, but they're 4 back, but they are dead last. So they're right now 3 teams separating them from even catching the Fever in the first place, since the Dream Mystics and Sparks are ahead of them. What would be your minimum price you'd need to consider a Dallas playoff bet? Because I actually might need like 7-8 to 1 personally. You said 5. I might need 7 or 8.
Yeah, I think 5. I think 5 is actually intriguing. 5 makes me intrigued, and I think I'm willing. I'm willing to take the sweat and just because at this point you're hoping for a collapse by Indiana or Chicago. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because I think the Dream are going to be better when everybody comes back, and then they'll get into a spot where they start beating on bad teams, and they find themselves in there, and potentially not. Like, what if the Dream don't get any better? Then you're literally just fighting with Chicago and Indiana, and you're hoping on a meltdown between one of those two in the second half of the season. So yeah, I think for fun I would do it. It wouldn't be a lot, but for fun I would do it at 5-1. If you told me it was 7-8 to 1, I would 100% place that bet.
I think I would need
100%.
7 or 8 to 1 to consider it, but I think they should go over the win total if Satu's back for the entire post-Olympics.
Okay. 100%. That 10.5 win total is you should play that right now. They're going to win 6 games before the year's over. They're probably going to win 6 of their first 10 coming out of the Olympic break. I'm not going to lie to you. Matter of fact, what are their first 10 coming out of the Olympic break? Let's see. Dallas. Where are you at, Dallas? There we go. All right. First 10 games coming out of the Olympic break for the Dallas Wings. They have
That is such a bad 3-game start
oh
after the
shit.
break.
Yeah,
It's
that's a
so
horrible
bad.
3-game start. Yeah,
It's
okay.
horrible.
So
Yeah.
but if they steal one of those back-to-back games against the Liberty, then you're really, really cooking with hot grease. But they kick off Sun, Liberty. That's pretty bad. Then they go Sparks, Aces, Lynx. Wow, this is actually kind of
I
tough.
actually don't know if I can get there. They play the Liberty
Yeah,
they play the Liberty 4 times. And the Aces twice.
they're gonna win at least one of those games against the
I'm just
Liberty.
saying though, the Aces twice and the Liberty 4 times.
Yeah, they actually
That's
got it. Yeah, this is
awful.
actually pretty rough. Aces did well. At least the Aces is to end the season. Maybe the Aces aren't trying at that game.
Maybe. I might actually have to kind of move back on that win total because that schedule's tough.
Okay, so
4
they get the
Liberty
Fever.
matchups?
They get the Fever. They get the Sky. Both of those are on the road. They get the Dream on the road. They get the Mystics at home. They get the Fever at home. They get the Spark. Yeah, wow. That's it. Everything else is a pretty tough game.
It is. I
Yeah,
think
they're
I'm gonna have to
screwed.
pass
Never
on that.
mind. I'm not playing that.
Yeah.
I'm not playing. I'm not playing.
It's a good thing we went through the schedule though, because yeah, that's
I'm
a
not
really, really
playing.
tough schedule.
Yeah, no, that's really tough. Like even in 100%, like when Dallas last year, that was looking like 20-win Dallas, they still would have a tough part with that end of the schedule. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good on Dallas. All right. I'm glad we talked. I like them this game though. Give me Dallas. Beat the
So
Sparks.
do I.
All right. Player. No, we don't have player props. Lock, dog. I guess I'll throw a parlay together for the people. I feel like people would be asking for it if I
You
didn't
hit the
do it.
last one, so you got to keep it rolling.
I guess. And well, yeah, we can't do it underdog lineup. Okay. For my lock. Just give me Seattle laying 6.5. I found a 6.5. I'll just take
Okay.
Seattle laying 6.5. I already got 5 in my pocket. I feel fine with extra 1.5 points because I honestly, truly, they need to come out here and beat the crap out of this Minnesota team. I actually would be disappointed, and I would probably read too much into it if they don't beat the crap out of this team. And it's really because this is an opportunity for you to flex your muscles on defense and then show that even though you can play a tough defense, you can still find ways to score. We don't really talk about, well, I'm not gonna lie, I just took the Aces team total under, so I can't say that. But it's not too many times that we're like, oh, the Aces aren't going to be able to score against a good defense. Like, I don't ever look at defense and say this is going to, deter me from playing Asia Wilson. Like, no. So this Storm offense has to find ways, even against the good defenses of the league, to continue to find ways to put up points and score. So I really think Seattle should go out here, dominate this game, win this game, cruise over, and not let Minnesota score. Give me Seattle playing 6.5. That's my lock. For my dog, let's go with. Do I just make the parlay my dog? I guess I am. I don't really like anybody. Or is there a player prompt that I can really, really get behind? And nah. Well, nah, I'll just do a parlay. Okay. Parlay is gonna be my dog. We're gonna go with Vegas laying 14.5. That's definitely in there.
Okay.
We are also going to take the over in Indiana and Phoenix. That's going to go in there. Do I want to continue to put Seattle in there or do I want to take the under? No, this is what we're going to do because Minnesota's been pretty spotty in the first half. We're going to take Seattle first half, late 3.5, just in case that second half doesn't go the way I want it. because 2 of the last 3, they kind of blown it in the second half. So Seattle first half laying 3.5. Vegas laying 14.5 over Indiana and Phoenix. That way I spread out the coverage. I spread out the coverage on that Seattle bet. I can do a first half Seattle. There we go. That's my dog.
All right. So for the lock on the show, I'm wondering if I want to go for a Caitlin Clark assist alt line actually as a dog. So I might do that instead. Yeah, for my lock, I think I am going to go with Tina Charles. I'm going to go with the under 15.5 points. I think it's a bad matchup for her, just simply put. I think that you're looking at minus 118, which I think is a good price. She has had less than 14 points in 3 straight games. Her minutes have actually plummeted. She's played less than 25 minutes in back-to-back games. So I don't know what that's about, but the point is her minutes have kind of been underwhelming recently. Not even foul trouble. She just has gotten her minutes cut a bit. But we saw her in the first meeting of the season. She had 7 points against the Aces. It's a bad matchup. She had 4 fouls in the game. Now she's got to deal with Asia again. It's not ideal. I think Charles is in for a bad game here. So give me the under for her. Also want to mention, as bad as the Aces defense has been this season, they're allowing the 3rd fewest opponent points in the paint. So with that being the case, they have been a good paint defense team this season, and that's how Charles gets all her points. So give me the under 15.5 points on Tina Charles as my lock. For my dog, I can go for Caitlin assists I can go for 11.5 at plus 270. I was kind of hoping for 10.5, but I want to quickly check Bet365 to see if they have a line on 10.5, because 11.5, you are kind of trying to thread a needle there, but let me see if I can find it by any chance. I doubt I'm going to find it, but I can hope. Do they have 10.5? Let me just see if I could find it. I don't believe they do. So that I can't actually get, but let me I don't know if I trust Indiana to actually win the game or not. So I'm just gonna go with the gamble here. Thought about a triple double though at like 650 or like 625 as a heat check, but I think I am just gonna go with Clark assists. Give me an alt line. Give me the over 11.5 assists for Clark at plus 270. She has had at least 12 assists in 3 of the last 4. She had 12 in the first meeting of the season. She actually has had 12 plus in 4 of the last 6. And the ball's in her hands all the time. You like the over in the game, so do I. I see a bunch of points. Give me Clark alt assists over 11.5 at plus 270 as my dog.
All right. Love it. Let's get an underdog lineup going. Underdog. Fantasy. Make sure you use that promo code NBA SGPN. Let's see. You want to throw Tina in there?
I do. I know you're going to agree with it because we don't think the Dreams score, but they're a great team in the paint. And I feel like people haven't really noticed it. And Charles has been, for whatever reason, really bad for the last week. So
Charles lower 15.5 points. Oh, this is definitely going to hit. I've never seen them have Tina Charles higher 19.5 points, 1.5x spicy, higher 24.5 points, 4.25x spicy. The lower is coming in today, guys.
She's dropping 8. So just
they've never had those. They've never had those before. Oh, wait, does everybody have these now? Oh, everybody
might have added it.
Yeah, everybody has it. Oh, that's fun. Let's see. I guess
Do you want Clark assists or no?
No, we can say Clark assists. I just don't understand why not.
It's rookie stat padding season. Stat padding summer.
Yeah. They're gonna stat pad and lose the game. Clark higher 9.5 assists. And we can go with Asia Wilson. Okay. I'm just not. We're not going to put effort into that. Asia Wilson higher. So Tina Charles lower 15.5 points. We have Caitlin Clark higher 9.5 assists, and we have Asia Wilson higher 27.5 points. Hey, that is 6-1 on underdog. 6x, $100 get you $600, so on and so forth. Make sure you use that promo code NBSGPN to get a first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash and a special pick. Underdogfantasy.com, promo code NBASGPN. Scott, anything else for people before we get up out of here?
No, a reminder, I'm going to have to change the title of this episode, but we did cover the Friday and Saturday games, so we're not going to do an episode, obviously, tonight for Saturday. We're back once again for Sunday. I know that there are a lot of games on the card, so we're going to cover them Saturday night. Is that the plan?
Yeah, tentatively, yes.
Okay,
That is.
that's fine.
I would love to do that. All right. I have nothing else. I mean, it's it's a great time. It's a great time in the W. It is, and we're succeeding. And not to jinx, but let's just see where things go. Other than that, if you're here and you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you give us a like, give us a 5-star rating and review, give us a comment on YouTube. Do all of that stuff. Just support the podcast in the ways that don't cost you anything, because these are free picks anyway. So you might as well just give us that support. Other than that, I have nothing else to say, nothing else to do. No other way of ending the podcast. Just going to end it like this. We are out of here.